We're going to have a look at the first home savings account in ProFile in the T1. The first home savings account is new for 2023. It's to allow first-time home buyers to save for their first home. There's a yearly limit of what you can contribute to your first home savings account, and there'll be a lifetime limit of $40,000. This is something we can look at when we look at ProFile. Contributions can be made for property, so cash, or you can transfer from an RRSP into your first home savings account. The implementation in ProFile, there's a T4 FHSA that'll have all the information you need to complete the return, and there'll be a Schedule 15 to report the information from the T4 FHSA. Related to the T1, the property contribution, so cash into the plan in your savings account, is tax deductible. Transfers from an RSP are allowed, but not deductible. The maximum yearly deduction is $8,000. Withdrawals to purchase a first home are not taxed, unlike the RSP home buyers plan. Qualifying withdrawals do not need to be repaid. I'm in a 2023 T1 and I'm on the T4 FHSA screen. The contributions, I made a maximum contribution entry here. And let's look at how that's implemented or how that shows up on the return. On the Schedule 15, the contribution is listed. You get a deduction for the year. There's a notice here. It can't be signed off, but it won't prevent filing a return. There's a notice just to make sure the deduction is what you would expect for this return. And if I go to the T1, there will be a deduction on line 20805. So that is deducted from net income. Let's go back to the T4. So I've got a contribution of property, cash for example, of $4,000 and an RSP transfer of $3,000. Back to the Schedule 15, what I can see is that the deduction for the year is $4,000. If I go up here, the property contribution is here, and then the transfer from the RSP is here. So like I showed on the slide, you don't get a deduction, it is accounted for. It reduces the amount of contribution room you can make for property, but the deduction is only for $4,000. And if we go back again to 20805, it's $4,000. Next example I'll show here is a contribution was made for $8,000, but $8,000 was withdrawn to buy a qualifying home. So let's see how that works on the Schedule 15. I get the $8,000 deduction, and then there's a step 4. Did you make a qualifying withdrawal? And that was the box 20 of the T4 FHSA. And then you got to check this box if the address on the return is the same as the address for the home you bought or built. So there's one extra step if there was a withdrawal. And if I go to the T1, the deduction is still allowed. Like we were saying on an earlier slide, there's no repayment requirement. There's a lot of different scenarios could show, but the last thing I want to show is that over contributions in the year may be subject to a penalty. CRA has lots of information about this. They have a whole web page about it. And let me just show you what that might look like in ProFile. Back in the T4 FHSA screen, made an over contribution here. Maximum is 8,000. Let's look at what it looks like. On the Schedule 15, the maximum deduction is 8,000. And then you can carry forward the undeducted contribution. There isn't a warning here, but should look at the rules. So I'm on a CRA webpage here. What happens if you over-contribute or transfer too much to your FHSA? So I'll just scroll down here, and there's a definition of what an excess is, and there's a tax of 1% per month. So just to point that out. Although there isn't a warning, this should be a consideration. That's a quick look at the implementation of the first home savings account in the T1 for 2023 and onward for the next 4 years. Hope you found it beneficial. If you want more profile support information, you can go to our website. It's profile.intuit.ca.